Καλησπέρα σας. Mr. Christodoulou, President of the Cyprus Association of Architects, Mrs. Mikhail, representative of the Swiss Embassy in Cyprus, Mr. Hussein, Commercial Director of Laufen Bathrooms, dear friends. It is a pleasure and an honor for us to welcome our distinguished guests to Cyprus and to this building that has been recently renovated and redesigned to host exhibitions of contemporary art in Cyprus. Holding our event in the center of the Mies van der Rohe Award exhibition is an extra special honor for our company, since the 383 works of architecture displayed on all 3 floors of this building provide inspiration for the architecture world of Cyprus, but also for anyone interested in studying creative ideas through architecture and design. Our collaboration with Laufen Bathrooms over the years has taught us to appreciate design in its wider sense. For Laufen, a perfectly designed item takes into account the looks as well as the flexibility, the practicality, and the functionality of the item, but also other important factors such as the economy of raw materials for the sake of the environment and respect for craftsmanship. It is in this context that the philosophy of Laufen works with prominent designers to come up with their complete range of products. Mr. Peter Witz, an engineer and product designer from Switzerland, founder of Vedica Group, is not only one of the leading designers of Laufen, but also designs products for Starbucks, Victorinox, BenQ, and other international companies. Mrs. Maria Vafiadis, on the other hand, an architect herself, founder of MKV Designs in London, is an established thought leader within the interior design world with a proven record of success in her career. She is well respected in the hotel and leisure business, with projects in her portfolio such as the Costa Navarino in Greece, the Kempinski Hotel in Hungary, and Buchenstock Hotel in Lucerne. Tonight, we will have the opportunity to listen to Peter and Maria expand their ideas about design and how design helps in creating memories, as well as the use of the design for leadership and strategy. I would like to thank the Cyprus Association of Architects for helping us organize tonight's event. A special thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us tonight and for your continuous support to our companies through all this year. I now give the floor to Mr. Peter Witz for his presentation. Thank you and enjoy tonight's lecture.
Thanks for coming. When we got the invitation, can everyone hear me? Do I need this? You know, because I don't like to stand at the same position all the time. Well, Marina, thank you very much for the invitation. It was a pleasure, you know, to have you, you know, showing us the beauty and also the friendship, you know, of this beautiful Cyprus. Thank you very much. And, you know, tonight there are so many professionals here. And I don't want to give you a lecture how you do your business, but I would like to give you a little bit of another view on design. And that's why I came up, you know, with this topic today, design leadership. How design is changing in a strategic way, how companies in the future will use design as a very important element in their decision-making process, but also in the way how they will expand, you know, their markets to the different level. So bringing design to the next level is the topic. And before I start that, I would like to give you, we need quickly to, can you please put that in, or give me this one? Okay, this one works. No, it does. little bit difficult. Sorry for... Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, right. Okay. I'm being asked, to give a little bit of an introduction about me, and I divide my life in two sections. One you see on the left-hand side, and the other one, it's me today. I call it life E, A, and B. I was, when I was young, and that obviously is on the left side, when I was competing, as a middle distance runner on 2 Olympics, competing for the Swiss national team. And, people are still continuously asking, what did you take, from your sports career, to your career as a designer, because they have nothing in common. And I said, yes, they have. You learn to lose. Losing and get up and don't lose the focus is actually what it all takes. That's all about sports, and you can actually use this also for your career later on as an entrepreneur or as a designer. I don't want to go into detail in that because, I would like to give you a little bit of an introduction about Vetica just before we start the topic. Vetica, I started the business around 21 years ago. And we have actually today we have 4 locations. Our headquarters is in Switzerland. We have an office in Germany and 2, one in Taipei and one in Hong Kong, since 13 years, by the way. And we are now just acquire another agency in San Francisco by next year. The total amount of my team is around 50 people and about 30 freelance people which we use for different projects. And this is just a little collection of our international mandates. And you see there are companies you may have heard, others you never heard about it, and that's exactly what we want. We don't want to have a specific, industry we work for. We work for medical companies, pharmaceutical companies, banks, and of course, we work for sanitary industry. Today, people like you and also our children, they have never had so many opportunities in the past as they have today and the upcoming future. But there's also a lot of challenges. If we talk about opportunities, there are so much new things, new kind of stuff on the market. So many different disciplines. You can hardly decide as a company and also as a young person which way you want to go. But on the other hand, we have also never had so much challenges. And this affects a lot of international companies to make decisions where they want, in the future to invest or where they stand, compare, to all their competitors. So why we need more design leadership? That's going to be the question. And I would like to give you a little insight about that. There's a McKinsey study coming out last year in July or October by last year. McKinsey, as a business consultancy, realized, that design is a driving force for the success of companies. So this is actually an interesting thing. 64% of all companies aren't talking to their end users or customer during development of new products or services. That means the majority of people, they don't even know for what they are actually producing, or what are they actually are going to look for, for the next level where they want to go. And interesting as well, that only less than 5% of companies, reported that their leaders couldn't make objective design decisions. And that is a warning, that, why design, branding, and also marketing is so important. I would like to tell a little bit about this guy. This guy is the CEO of the Deutsche Bank. German bank, has been in the news for quite a while, but not because of their success, just because, of troubleshooting based on their financial situation. And interesting enough, he has been asked 2 years ago, how about design, how about branding and marketing? And he said, well, we have people for that, I'm more responsible for the strategy, digital transformation, and agility or management. So he has no clue for what this bank stands for. So, and that's the result. I'm not saying that this is just an image, why leading people, leaders, should more focus, on marketing, should talk to their customer to understand the need, what this overall service, and a bank is nothing more than a service. And more or less, the turnover and the profit comes from the customers and not from someone else. So there needs to be a lot of jobs to be done. So this guy should have an understanding of relevance of the strategic decision for his customers. He should learn firsthand what excites and what also frustrates the clients. He should also understand the useful transformation of new products or services. And last but not least, he should actually adapt constantly the strategy to the new situations. We always say, use strategy as a learning process. But design still in the management world has seen as a creating an attractive visual image. People really don't understand and take it seriously. On the other hand, also, it's a stimulation, for customer to attract them. An add-on, a nice add-on for marketing and engineering teams, to really have something extra what they do already. And it's an adaptation or an option, in addition what they already have. And we said we want to change that. So this is a typical organization chart of a company. And I have worked with so many companies, and the design is somewhere mostly connected either to the engineering department or connected, as a small little group of people in a ground floor, sitting, and doing, some creative stuff which have no influence on this guy on top. But funny enough, startups, they look like this. Startups, they are not interested, in hierarchy. They are not interested, in different levels. What they take care is the customer needs. They take the customer needs first. And underneath, they have different divisions. Sales, how what we can do, how the services need to be adapted to this, how we need to do the communication and the usability interacting with our customers. This is so important for a startup. And afterwards, they mostly have only 3 or 4 divisions, VP of marketing and sales, R&D, and VP of design. And if the manager or the CEO does all that correctly, he has enough time to play golf. So I always say there are 2 ways of shepherds. You can even go ahead of all your sheep and show them the way, or you let them decide the way, and you walk behind. This picture is a little bit, equivalent to this. When we start working with companies, we always ask them, where are you? What does design mean for you? And when we do an audit, we talk about design maturity. No design is the majority. Design as a function, yes, but then it already gets very, very thin. Using design as a process with guidelines and clear structure, that is already, very seldom happen. And design as a strategy, it's almost none. What I want to tell you tonight, is 4 elements which you may need to take in count. Design leadership means analytical, measure and drive, design performance with the same rigor as revenue and cost. It's no different. You have to have, this kind of design performance with the same rigor. Then cross-functional. Cross-functional make user-centric design everyone's responsibility. Not only the design department, that's a leading, concept. It's not a seal of function any longer. It affects, all kind of elements. Every touch point need to be coordinated. Continuous iteration, de-risk development by constantly listening, testing, and iterating with the end users. That's a constant process. And almost none of our clients in the past, had this kind of system established in their management daily business. It's also about user experience. This is now something, with a lot of people talk about, what's the customer experience and user experience, but what it is, it is break down, internal walls between the physical and digital and service developments to reach perfection, in user experience. So many people, when we start working with those companies, they ask me, okay, so what are you actually talking about when you talk about leadership? And I said, okay, what is your relevance to your customer? What is your relevance? Do you have any relevance to your customers, yes or no? And secondly, what's your differentiation? And sometimes differentiation in terms they say, well, we have great products, super products, because, has been designed, by famous designers. Yes, but that's something others also have. So what's the real differentiation? And sometimes, this conversation stops at a certain point because there's no answer. Secondly, where is your future net present value? Tell me where you want to make money out of it, what you do. What is your customers, willing to pay in the future? For what service, for what products? And who are your customers and what are their real, future needs? So what design should be is, the articulation of a company's promise. It should be a process for effectiveness and agility. It should be a reflection of the personality of a company, because a company is nothing else than just a person. We always see brands as something imaginary, kind of complicated, but it's nothing more than a person. And, that's what design should have, to reflect, that personality. Motivate and guidance for employees. It's not only outside to the client. You also have to really, look into that and motivate that. Design can do a lot, if it comes, to guide your employees, guidance. And it's also a strategic element for every organization and driving force for sustainable responsibility. There are, maybe you have heard about it, there are 3 horizons, to which every company should have. But most of the companies, they never have thought about it. And I will give you an example. May you have heard. One side is the potential to growth, the other side is the time to value and new earnings relevance. Now, you have three horizons. First horizon is defending, and expanding the core business. That's what almost companies do. They have daily business on defending their existing business, scared, to lose. Second horizon is already a challenge. That means, establish new business areas which fit into the brand, but still, have a benefit, to the customers. And the third level, that's the highest level, creating new options for the future. Now I will give you a sample. You may know those companies, okay? Unfortunately, one of them already died, the other one is half dead. I don't know if there are some older people in here, like me, who has a Nokia phone, I can remember. So Nokia decided touchscreen is not an appropriate way of handling a smartphone, because they said, we did some market research and, people told us, buttons is the thing to be. A touchscreen gets dirty and it's not very, very nice to use. Kodak, on the other side, said, digital photograph will never be a future because, the quality is rubbish, and it's much too expensive. Wrong. The future told us, it's a total wrong. So both of them, had only horizon one in their minds. Now I would like to show you two others. They have, one of them is our client, and interesting enough, they have a totally different approach. They, of course, work also on horizon one, but they have teams, working on horizon number two, working out completely new ways of retailing, finding ways how they actually approach new areas, which they haven't been into. And, that's establishing new business areas. And last but not least, that's the highest level, bringing together, people who are actually studying only on the future, having, the possibilities to come up with new services which we all know don't have an idea that they exist, having the potential, to create user experience in a totally different horizon. So I want that you go home and understand that principles, because that's super important for every company to find out, and it's a decision-making kind of principles, to go into that direction. You need to know whom, how, what, and how. So that's very simple. Those four things, are actually defined everything. So I used to, and I prefer to use it in this way. First, we need to know who we are serving. Second, we need to know who we are, and that's already difficult enough. Then third, what we are doing, for what kind of concept we do have, how we approach our customers, what are our services, what is our product, and then, how do you design and constantly delivering those messages and also this high level of experience to create new products and services. So it's discover, define, develop, and deliver. And it's those four. It's not rocket science, it's actually quite simple. But if you're asking those questions to very international big organizations, hardly they can answer. And that always surprises me, up front, you think about, they are doing a lot of much more intelligent people than I am, but they have a lot of lacks, in their overall layout in terms how they use design. Managing design is the constant act of transforming something into a distinctive state. So, you have may heard about design thinking. Huh? Or someone in here never heard about it. Design thinking is the new trend, of management courses. A lot of economic students, they are crazy for design thinking. But what they tend to forget, design thinking is only one little part, understanding your customers. But it will not give you any kind of answer how you do need to do business or about, the feasibility of your technology. And if you combine people and business, that means branding. And if you combine business with technology, that means innovation. And if you combine people with technology, that's all about usability. And as more those three elements overlapping, as bigger becomes the user experience. I would like to close by a few things which is important, for me to bring across. Design leadership means design doing, creating experience. I worked with Laufen for 20 years now, and I saw the growth of this brand, from a local ceramic manufacturer to a global brand. And I was so proud to be part of this journey. But it's not over yet. It's a constant work, to bring that, that philosophy, that kind of way how we do things, across to all the markets. And that's exactly here. Design doing means, hard work. It's not comes for free. It's really, hard sweat and a lot of pain to do that. But it increases the customer loyalty and, of course, the motivation. And secondly, it's the design thinking, what I just explained. Understand your customers. Increase the market shares and sales if you do it right. And third, it's design being, the relationship, and I have the pleasure to have Ilker here, which is a master, of doing that, and I think, Mariano, you can actually just agree on that. He is really... Design being means, bringing as ambassador all the value, every employee, bringing the value of the company over across, to the customer. And that's increased the profitability and the value shares. Just one quick, because I don't want to make a commercial about Laufen, but I would like to give you a little bit about an insight about my work. That's an installation this year in March in ESH in Frankfurt, where we see the Riva. The Riva is right over there, which we have created the last 3 years ago. And this is a few of the designers, from Laufen. I'm just one of the column of this team, with Alberto Palomba, Konstantin Gricic, myself, and Mr. Abby. And during the years, from the Laufen Pro, which we see here, the bathtub of Laufen Pro, some faucets, came one day the question, how about the shower toilet? And I said, yes, that's a good idea, but I'm only interested if we are doing it as less machine as possible. Are you willing to go into this journey to make a toilet as neutral, as simple as possible? And that was quite a big of a journey because, ceramic, as you have seen in the movie previously, is an organic material. It has a lot of tolerances, and it was very difficult to bring this precise, black box of technology into this unibody ceramic piece. But we didn't give up, and with the help, of a lot of talented people in Laufen, we are able to do so. And I'm very proud, that we could actually manage this. And also, the operation, bottom is out of stainless steel, which also emphasizes the cleanness and also the hygienic aspect, of a shower toilet. Sorry. Then, after that, we made the Navia. The Navia is the low, with lower functionality, lower price, but with exactly the same philosophy. We didn't make any compromises in terms of technology or actually functionality. It's still, but it has a lot less features, and it's much more price sensitive. And then lately we started a collaboration and bring together another company, that's Duscholux, which does shower enclosures together with Laufen, in order to come up, with a totally new concept of shower trays, combining, by measure, cut by measure, in a very simple and very fast way, with different colors and with different kind of aspects, how a shower could look like. And with all that, I would like to thank you, for listening to a little bit of instruction about design leadership. Hope you actually have learned a little bit, and if not, I'm here to ask questions afterwards. Thank you very much. I would now like Maria coming over to hand over the micro to her, and I only hope it works.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
Kalispera. Marina and Ilker, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm really happy and honored to be here today with this wonderful audience. I'm Maria Vafiadis, founder of MKV Design. We are based in London and we specialize in hospitality design. I was actually trained as an architect, but I chose very early in my career to change direction and go into interior design and hospitality interior design. It's something I learned from work. I started 30 years ago. And 10 years into my career, 20 years ago, I founded my own company. Over the last 20 years, we have been privileged to work in a variety of projects. We do not have a style. We do not impose a style in our projects. What I would like to do today is to share with you, not to show you how good we are and what nice things we do, but to try and show you what our philosophy is, where we are coming from, and maybe make you think about your projects in a different way. You are in Cyprus. I'm sure there are quite a few hospitality projects on the island, and you must know that a very trendy word lately is narrative. Narrative is everything for hotel design. So I thought it will be interesting to tell you a story, and this is the story of the No brand. Years ago, we were asked by one of our potential clients, it was actually the technical director of one of the big international chains, that had seen one of our projects, to pitch for a job. He had seen our project in Vienna, he really liked it, and he said, okay, Maria, he gave me a call, I want you to do our next project. And I went to New York to meet with him and discuss about the potential collaboration. And what he said to me was, Maria, I've seen your work in Vienna and I really liked it, but when I looked at your website, I wasn't really pleased. I didn't know where you were coming from. Your website didn't have a bone in it. I couldn't really see where your brand is. What are your brand values? There was simply no continuity. Now, when he said that to me, I had two kind of emotions within me. On one hand, I said, yes, that's it. He can't see the brand. That's great. But on the other hand, I was actually worried I might not get the job, because I said, shit, I came all the way to New York, now I'm not going to get it. So we started the conversation. I started saying to him, well, well, you know, what do you mean with brand? As I told you, we don't have a style. We don't impose a style in our projects, and that's the reason why you see such a diverse product. And actually, the brand is the project. No, we don't want our projects to look alike, and we actually do not want any project to look like the other one. So no one is the same. When we start designing, the first thing we think about is what we always do, is we say, what do we want our guests to say about our design? That's a very important thing for us. And stopped. So we, in very, very simple words, we want to have a design that has a very strong narrative, that tells a story, that is unique and can surprise. Surprise in hospitality world is very, very important. It exceeds expectations. See how many times you go in a hotel. We all live in the internet world right now. Whenever we travel, we just go on the website, we check out everything, we check every photograph, and we make up in our mind the expectations for what we are going to see. And we are so happy when we go there and we say, yeah, that's exactly what I saw on the website. It was an honest website, and we are happy with it. But think what would happen if what you see exceeds the expectations. This is very important. This is really very important for every hotel guest, exceeding expectations. But most of all, and this is one of the reasons why I actually chose not just to do architecture, but to do interior design, is because hotels need to make you feel good. Think again about yourself. If you go in a hotel, you check in is not what you want it to be, and it makes you feel miserable, and you want to go away, and you start writing reports on TripAdvisor. This wasn't working, that was horrible, that was bad. So those 4 simple things. Because what does ultimately stay with us? We are all humans. Memories. This is what stays with us. We go somewhere, and then all this experience is translated into memories. So, for us, it's all about diversity and individuality. We strongly believe that we are all individuals. We all have our preferences. There shouldn't be one, yes, that works up to a certain degree for everyone, but it should be the same for all hotel projects. They should be individual and diverse. So I'm going to show you very quickly some of our work, and it's chosen, all these case studies are chosen for their individuality. And I do hope that with these case studies, you will understand in an easier way what I was trying to say before. The very first one is a very well-known hotel in the center of London, the Sheraton Park Lane, is the best example of Art Deco architecture in London. You might have seen it, is opposite Green Park Station. Built at the beginning of the century, the first steel construction in the UK. So, heritage building of a timeless elegance, made for a special occasion. Those were the grand hotels that were done for special occasions, for memorable experiences. They weren't, at the time, they weren't built for every day. So we were asked to refurbish this building, which is protected. And you will see from the photos that what we had to do, we had to recreate that old elegance of the time, but we didn't want to copy it. So you will see that there are certain areas that were protected, where design was dictated by the existing. But then when areas weren't protected, we went for a fresher look, but something that still complements the existing style of the hotel. That's the emblem of the hotel, which is still there. So the outside of the of the hotel. New reception. This is a new area, all done with photos from the history of the hotel. And the old part, which is protected, the palm court. Details that come from the history. F&B outlets that are all new, but still have relevance to the Art Deco design. The restaurant. And the new brasserie on Park Lane, which is done from scratch. The toilets. You can imagine that in the olden days, all the ladies were going there, powdering their noses and preparing for the balls that were happening in the ballroom of the hotel. This is not working, really. And then we go into the rooms, the presidential suite, again, done in the Art Deco style. Luxurious, most of the bathrooms had to be retained. Now we are somewhere different. This is a new resort in Greece, Costa Navarino. It's a complex resort. It's not just one hotel. It has two hotels, the Romanos, the Westin. It has a big spa, the Anazoia Spa, and the conference center. The challenge there was how to capture the rich history of Greece that is in that part of the southern Peloponnese. In Messenia, you are close to Navarino Bay. And the history there starts from Nestor's, from the antiquity, Nestor's palace, and it goes through to Byzantine times and, Greek revolution in 1821 and so forth. So we designed, this is the resort with the two golf courses, the two hotels, and etc. So the Romanos is an homage to ancient Greece, to the Palace of Nestor. It's a luxury, obviously, collection hotel, which means that it has the level of formality and sophistication and the luxury that the guest will want to expect from a luxury collection brand. Doesn't work. And you can see the entrance. So it's the modern interpretation of Nestor's palace with all the mosaics on the floor and all the detailing with the big gates, etc., something that would really make you think you are in today's Palace of Nestor. The Westin, on the other side, is all about Byzantine Greece. So it speaks about vernacular architecture, about rural life, about nature, about a feel of home, and it has a much more relaxed atmosphere. And you can see the olive groves, Kalamata is full of them. Use of stone, a lot of stone. The furnishings are more natural. And it has that kind of relaxed feel with the pebbles, by the beach, etc. The spa talks about Byzantine architecture. We are next to Mistras and Sparta. It's not far away. It's mystical. And the offering of the well-being is rooted into the nature. And you can see again that this is almost taking you back to Byzantine era. Lots of fretwork with iron, all the vaults, and mystical with the lighting, the nice lighting effect. 10 years after we completed Costa Navarino in Greece, we were commissioned to do an even bigger resort in Switzerland, the Bürgenstock Resort. Now, we like this kind of projects. We like them for their complexity, maybe because we don't like to be bored just with one thing. It's almost like a puzzle. You need to put lots of things together, and they need to feel they belong together. But you can see the distinctive elements, like in Costa Navarino, of every component. Here we had the Bürgenstock Hotel, which was a newly built hotel. The Palace, which was retained, an old hotel, again, beginning of the century, which was retained. The Grand Residences, which used to be a hotel that was turned into apartments. A new Alpine Spa, which is 10,000 square meters, then tennis and sports courts, and more F&B offering like Villa Daniel, which is a Lebanese restaurant. The overview of the resort is what you see. So you can see on the right-hand side, right at the end, it is the Palace Hotel, and then it goes into the Bürgenstock, the Spa, the Grand Residences, and the rest of the residential component. The view is amazing. It's all about the location, really, and everything is facing the lake, or the four lakes, and the city of Lucerne, where Peter is coming from. The Bürgenstock Hotel is an iconic building. It's immersed into the landscape. It offers the most amazing views, and it has a very clean-cut and contemporary design. You can see the building, and that shows you what the views are like. So what we wanted to make guests feel when they were into the hotel, we wanted them to feel as if they are into a helicopter and they were looking down onto the view. So it was all about the view, not really so much about the interiors, but about the view. And obviously this view goes into the inside, but you have on the back the big windows overlooking down. But you can see that everything is open, and everything is deliberately kept at low level, cascading down towards the view. And this is what you see from the lounge. A view of the restaurant, and the view from inside the restaurant to the outside. Action in the kitchen. This is another restaurant, the Lebanese. Lots of outdoor seating, lifestyle up in the mountains during summer or winter is the same thing. The outdoor and indoor almost works seamlessly. And the views from the bedrooms. So by the window, a nice built-in seat where you can sit and look down. But the same thing from all the bathrooms. Both bathrooms and bedrooms share exactly the same view. It was such a shame to close the bathrooms and put them at the back. So at the Bürgenstock, the bathrooms are actually more important. They take center stage to the bedroom. The Palace is the opposite, is the old hotel, historic building, which had been part of the society life. It's incredible the amount of people I met in Switzerland, and they all told me, no, I got married there, I got baptized there, I went there for this or that, and they were very, very, tied with the hotel. You can see the collection of art. This is all old furnishings that belonged to the property. It dates back to the beginning of the century, as I said. More details. And what we did for this restaurant is the resort always had 3-4 hotels. So they had enormous storage with all the utensils they were using in all their kitchens. And we did this restaurant, which looks as if it would have been there forever, but it's not, it's brand new. There used to be a meeting room in that space there. But then we took all the silverware, all the old ovens and hobs they were using, old fireplaces from the hotels that were demolished, and we did this restaurant, which is actually wonderful to sit and eat, and it's so different from the rest. And the rooms in the palace where this is a 4-star product to complement the Bruggestock, and it was much, much simpler in style, but comfortable. The residences is a luxurious product about for the international clientele, and the brief was calling for make it as exclusive and international as it could be, but still within the location and of the Bürgenstock. The spa is the crown of the resort. Again, the views are paramount. Indoor pool, outdoor pool, about an experience. I think it's the most Instagrammable pool, up to the point that they have prohibited guests to go with their mobile phones onto the outdoor pool. It was actually quite unnerving. I went there once to swim, and I was dreaming of this 10 minutes on my own, and all I could hear around me was this click, 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 click. But it's really incredible to be up there with all the steam coming from the hot water and being immersed into the nature. And the rest of the spa is really very pared down, very simple. It really makes you feel at ease. And it is really about your own well-being, finding your own self and being as zen as possible. And again, the views, everything about the views, even the saunas and the steam rooms, they are all immersed into the nature. Two years ago, we finished the Royal Hideaway Corrales resort in Tenerife. Now, Tenerife, I don't know if you have been there, architecturally, I would say, is quite boring. They have the so-called Mediterranean style, or orange buildings in terracotta form with the archways. And when we arrived, we were pleasantly surprised because the local architect, a very well-known local architect, had done this amazing architecture of a building, which we thought suited so well the volcanic nature of Tenerife. Tenerife is all black sand, and is quite scarce. It doesn't have a lot of vegetation. It's a volcanic island. So he had come up with this beautiful and simple architecture of the two buildings combined with that bridge there on the top. And obviously, for us, architecture is a starting point. We really believe that indoor and outdoor should blend. They shouldn't fight each other. So we, as you can see, this is the reception. We really followed, we almost brought the architecture into our interiors. There is a big offering of F&B outlets. There are lots of pools. You can see one of them. It's at the front, and then at the back we have water features. Rooftop pools, pools by the garden, again, different experiences. This is the adults part of the resort. And then simpler restaurants like the Mediterranean or the Asian here. and the all-day dining of the family hotel that opens up into the beautifully landscaped garden. The spa, much smaller in size, but again, all with a local black stone wall. And the rooms where we came up with the idea of the corales screen. There are coral leaves all around Tenerife, and this nice screen design that divides the bathroom from the room was a statement that was connecting very well with the Corales name. And this year we opened Mykonos Riviera in Mykonos. It is in, obviously, Mykonos has a very, very distinctive style. It's the party island. It's an island where one can do a bit of crazy things. But again, because of the location, this one is right opposite the new harbor of Mykonos. The colors were playing with the blue and white of the island. This is the reception. What it has is that the pool is on top of the reception, so we came up with the idea of doing these perforations on the pool, and it's incredible what a magical experience, magical moments it can do. During the day it brings light, and in the evening you can see actually the water simmering and doing all sorts of things on the floor. And by that, which is actually difficult to capture with a photo, you don't really need to do anything else in the reception, because if you try to put lots of furniture or do lots of other things, you will kill this first welcome experience in the hotel. So we just left it quite sparse, as you can see. And in the evening, it's complemented with some fiber optics on the walls. The rest of the resort is quite playful, happy. It's Mykonos. This is a small library where people can go and relax. This is a small boutique hotel. It's not having big public areas. This is the breakfast buffet space, actually, that converts into a small wine cocktail bar in the evening. And this is a specialty restaurant. And obviously, Mykonos, the views, sunsets, outdoor, this is what people go there for. And this is what we try to do with the rest of the lounging areas. And it's quite nice sitting there in the terrace and watching either the yachts or the big cruise ships going by. And the spa. Look. And the rooms. Again, very simple. So we are now working on two projects that are totally different. One is an old palace in Budapest, and this is what the passage looks like, and this is what the guests will see when they will first enter into the hotel. The reception. Doesn't work. The lobby, bar. This is the all-day dining, which is done like a Hungarian bistro. And the cafe, like all buildings in Budapest, Vienna, they all had their famous cafes. Meeting rooms and the spa. And a sky bar on the rooftop. And the rooms. The rooms have 4 meters high ceilings. I've never had that before, so it's good to experience that as well. That can be a challenge. And the bathrooms that are done almost like Budapest has the Gellert baths, so is the city of the baths. So what we've done for all the bathrooms is the bathrooms are done like wet rooms, where you have the combination of the bathtub and the shower inside. So it will be like having mini spas in every guest room. And that again connects very well with Budapest and the city, because lots of people will go to the Gellert baths and then they will come to their hotel and they'll feel the connection without even telling them. And the presidential suite. And the other one is a new build in Kiev, which is part of the Sheraton brand. Obviously, the Sheraton brand has a very distinctive style. It's very modern, it's social, and very active. And you can see here the look of the bedrooms, bathrooms. This is a business hotel. Some of the suites, much more designed and more international in the style to go with the brand of the Sheraton. Presidential suite. And the public areas. And the spa. The restaurant on the rooftop. Kiev surprisingly has a very strong presence of F&B outlets. I mean, you'll find restaurants in Kiev and bars and nightclubs that have absolutely nothing to, they are missing nothing from New York or London. So we had really to come up with something that was a big statement in order to compete well with the local offer. That's it. So thank you. I hope it wasn't too long. I think maybe Peter now can join me and will be happy to.
We thank Peter and Maria for their presentations, of course, for their presence here tonight, for their interesting presentations and very informative. And they are here to answer any questions you may have. Κύριος Μελετίου.
Well, I'm not so much want to talk my life age anymore because it's so, you know, it's 1994. I don't know what kind of. You remember those times?
I started my architectural career in London, but in a different field, in sports and leisure.
Okay.
Particularly tennis. So that's why I was able to relate so well to Maria, not to mention the level of Maria's work was better than mine, but I could see that. And I was a student at the time that you were racing against Epiphaniou and
Sebastian. Yeah. Sebastian is still Lord, by the way. Lord Sebastian Coe is, excuse me. Yeah, he's still a very good friend, and I told Ilke, you know, who lives in London, that I was actually training with him, doing very intense sessions and Heritage Sports Club for many years. So yeah, we are still very good friends and are visiting each other. And he likes, by the way, the Bürgerstock very much because that's where he's always staying. And you know, yeah, it's a good memories.
It was a fantastic introduction to your fantastic book, which was Allò.
Thank you very much.
Άλλες ερωτήσεις? Any other questions?
No, not really. We had done, yes, years ago we had done the Elea Golf Club, just the golf club building in Paphos. But that was it, nothing more. So we do hope we're going to get.
The first time I saw your work was in Vienna.
In Vienna.
And I was so impressed. I asked who's the designer? He told me this is not the other. This is a big one.
Yeah.
And they said yes, they gave me the card, and I looked you up actually. Yes, it was very good. What Arthouse or something? I forgot the name.
Yeah. It was the Radisson Blu. It was Style Hotel. Style Hotel in Vienna. Yeah.
Just opened, I think.
Yeah, yeah. It was actually, it was in the first district. And you know, Vienna is quite conservative. To come and do such a project in conservative Vienna, because that was in the year, it was almost 10 years ago, it was quite brave, not only of us, also of the owner and everyone, because Vienna was very conservative still at the time. And it was a good project. And my story was based actually on this one, because the operator that called us in had also stayed in Style Hotel in Vienna. Yeah. It was a small hotel, but nice, very nice. Fond memories of Vienna, yeah.
Ποιος άλλος? Anything else you want to ask or comment, art or any comment? Welcome.
Do you work with architects or
Yes, of course. Yes, yes.
from the beginning as well?
No. We work with architects. Of course, we work with architects because we are interior designers. We do not do architecture. But what we say and what we like doing is we want to be involved from day one, because we believe that architecture and interiors should go hand in hand, and we believe that this is the best approach. No, we undertake only interior design. We only do architecture for our residential projects. We also do residential projects. We never show them because they are very private. But for hotel work, we don't do architecture, no. Yes.
After so many years, I believe now they realize that they need the soft touch, especially in projects like hospitality. You know, an architect is not trained in interior design,
And vice versa. Yes, it takes time. I think I'm Greek. I was born, raised in Athens. I left Athens when I was 17. And I went abroad to study, and then I stayed abroad. And at the beginning of my career, I was going back to Greece, and I was trying to convince the Greek hoteliers that, but I'm talking now 30 years ago, that they needed to consider employing an interior designer. And the reply at the time was, well, we are selling the sun, the sea, interiors are not important. You know, if you are in a good location, everyone is going to come. Now, what is happening at the moment is, I think, the hospitality design has been elevated to a very, very high standard. And I think the competition, the competition is so tough that inevitably everyone realizes how important interior design is, especially, not only for hotels, but especially for hospitality design. So when you work with the big international chains, is a given. I really don't want to undermine architecture. Architecture is everything. But, and I say that without any fear, the hotel is lived from inside. The architecture is good to look at, is the iconic building you build, and it's going to stay forever. But what the guest takes is that feeling of life, and you leave the hotel from inside. So it's very important that the two things come together.
Customer experience.
And it's also very important, and I can say that because I believe I'm allowed to say that, because I'm an architect by qualification. I studied architecture. As an architect, I had to overcome the education we get as architects, because architecture is about correctness, is about doing things correct, properly, as they should be. But our feelings are not like that. So if you want to be an interior designer, you have to be more instinctive, you have to allow yourself to do different things, and the two don't necessarily match. That's why it's important to have two individuals working together. I'm not saying there aren't architects that can do great interior design, or interior designers that couldn't do good architecture. But I think when you have two professionals working together, hand in hand, this is when you get the best result. And it is about teamwork. And whenever I had any class with architects that weren't used to work with interior designers, I always try to say to them, listen, at the end of the day, what you need is you need to have a successful project. So let's work together in order to go together in the same, to have the same end product. And then, they realize it. So I think the market realizes the need for that. Design is big right now, and is very, very important. As Peter said as well.
If I could say something further to what you just described, is that with interior design, you already mentioned the feel-good factor, which defines it for me. You go somewhere and have the feel-good factor. And with architecture, perhaps I would like to add the term memorable experience.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and interior design might be more ephemeral, whereas the buildings stay there longer, which is true, but then I think if interior design is done properly, it's not just about decoration, it's about, your flow of spaces, circulation, sizes of rooms, views, everything. It's not just the building only from the outside, but it's the building from inside out. It's...
Absolutely, and with architecture also comes identity as well as memorable experience.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, without architecture, we wouldn't be able to do anything. It's... Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Peter and Maria, once again for your presence here and for your interesting and very informative speeches. I thank again every one of you for being here with us and for supporting us. Και κάτω κοπιάστε για ένα ποτό και για κατηδίαν συνομιλία με τους designers, ό,τι θέλετε να πείτε και να μιλήσετε.